are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts, it's like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, it's the New York Knicks podcast, episode 413, part of the Almighty Baller Podcast Network and Dash Radio. I am Jay, and with me as always is Mark. What's up, Mark?
Hey, since I can't hear the beginning music anymore because your technology is faulty, can you do me a favor? Can you, and I forget what it sounds like, can you just kind of sing a little bit of it to me?
Nope.
No, just a little bit, and I'll be ready to do the show. Come on, get me in the mood, Jay.
Nope.
Just work me a little bit. Just work the walls. Come on.
This is going
This is
to
how
a
we're-
place I don't like. So,
Very-
since last episode, the Knicks have played 2 games.
Yes.
Both of those
Which,
did not go so well. Well, it depends. If you're in full tank mode, they went very well.
yes. So there was a quote. Well, tell me what you think. This is this is from Ian Begley, a tweet he sent. This is on what's going to happen with the young guys. So earlier this month, they asked Scott Perry was asked about the idea of giving younger players more minutes in the wake of the Moutier trade. Now, first, before I even read what he has to say, do you think Scott Perry and Jeff Hornacek are on the same page? In other words, does Perry and Hornacek sit down and go, here's what we want to accomplish for the rest of the season, and you're going to, here's the overall plan, and you're going to execute the plan? Do you think that's happening? Because I feel like for a long time, that has not been how the New York Knicks work.
No, it hasn't. I think we will know on Thursday.
Yes, I agree we'll know on Thursday. I'm asking you today, Jay.
Are you asking this just because Beasley played 40 minutes and Courtney Lee played 34 in the last game?
I'm going to accept. So the last game against the Wizards, the Knicks were playing very competitively. Timmy Hardaway was on fire. It looked like the Knicks were going to win the game. Hornacek went balls to the wall, try to win this game, and he lost the game because he's the greatest coach ever. And my question is, I expect now they've given the hints that, and in this game he just played the veterans, mostly the veterans, and that's what he kind of did in the Wizards game also. It was, not in the Wizards game, the 76ers game was a lot more vet heavy, with the only young guys playing were some minutes for Ntilikina and minutes for Moutier. Now the question is, and guys like Dotson are not getting playing time. We're all expecting post All-Star break from things they've said that they'll go to the young guys. I'm going to read what Perry has to say in a second, but just tell me, do you think? Forget what's going to happen, because in 2047 I'll know what happens in the next 20 years of games. But I'm going to talk about 20 years. I'm going to talk about right now. Do you think Perry and Hornacek are on the same page?
Yes.
Okay. So you think that if Perry wants to play the young guys, Hornacek will oblige?
Yes.
So Hornacek isn't trying, because the fear everyone says of a lame duck coach, and that just means the coach does not have a contract for next season, is that he will think the most important thing is getting wins, no matter what management wants to do, because he'll look at it this way. If I get wins, I'll get my job here. I'll get re-upped here. I'll get a new contract. And if I don't get a new contract here, I can at least take those wins elsewhere and try to use that to get a contract elsewhere.
I have a theory.
If I focus on player development, maybe or maybe not, I get a contract here and I go elsewhere. It's hard to explain losses to everyone else.
I have a theory.
Okay.
The older guys played most of the minutes against the Wizards because that was like their last hurrah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have this theory.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he was saying, guys, your playing time is going to be diminished a lot. There's only 23 games left in the season. I'm going to play all the young guys, so get ready for a long night tonight.
Right. Get ready. The young guy. I'm going to play young guys going forward, so we're going to play the vets, because it's been a masterpiece so far, and I have to honor the amazing performance you guys have put in so far by playing you again.
They lost what? Yes, 8 in a row.
A giant criticism of Hornacek And I find a lot of coaches have this same thing, is they claim that you have to earn playing time, and they claim that if you make mistakes, you're gonna pay for that in playing time. You have to really earn your way out there. And they do that for the young guys almost to a fault, but then the vets could look like absolute crap and they still get to play.
Yeah.
And I understand if you're talking about whether it be Carmelo Anthony or Porzingis or whatever, not saying they're playing like crap. I'm just saying, like, if the star player, I understand you giving them a long leash. But, like, the big argument is Jared Jack. Jared Jack has looked kind of like crap. He's been mediocre at best. If Moutier and Frank aren't playing that great either, but if they're playing like Jared Jack, you'd still be wondering. You wouldn't be like, "Oh, yay, we have this great player." You'd just be like, "They're still playing like crap."
We talked about Moutier last episode, right?
Yeah, we talked about that. I mean, Jack has turned the ball over a bunch. Jack looks like crap half the time. He doesn't really lead the offense. He's a fine backup at this point in his career. He'll give you a nice solid 15, 20 minutes a night as a backup solely. He is not a starting point guard.
No, that's
like, no
true. Honestly, now that we have Moutier, Ntilikina, and Burke, I kind of want to just see them get all the point guard minutes.
I mean, I think the perfect amount of minutes for Jared Jack right now is 0.
Yeah.
Or actually 15 minutes on the Cavs. Cut him now. Let him go play for the Cavs.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm looking at the standing. It's going to be really hard to get a good draft pick this year. The Knicks are really going to have to go all out on the tank. Their schedule isn't even that hard for the rest of the season.
So, actually, before I even read the Scott Perry thing, let's go to the standings real quick. Knicks have lost 2, heading out of the All-Star break. By the way, the last 4 years, the Knicks have had about pretty much the exact same record. Every year, they have about these many victories, except for that year when they won 17 games. But they're 23-36. They haven't been much better at this point in the last couple of years. They've been pretty much the exact same shithole of a team. As Donald Trump would say, we're a shithole of a team. So we're in 9th place in the Tankathon. Numbers 1 through 6 have 18 victories. Brooklyn at 7 has 19 victories. Chicago's 8 has 20 victories, and the Knicks have 23. The question to you is, if the Knicks lost every game, they pull off what I'm calling the miracle tank and lose every game the rest of the season, what place would they be in the tank?
They would be definitely top 5, anywhere between 1 and 5 because it's so close. But like a lot of these West Coast teams are going to play each other, so you're going to get a couple wins. I think everyone's going to have over 20.
20 over 23 though. I don't know. You're going to say some of these teams. I don't necessarily think Phoenix or Atlanta are winning 5 more games the rest of the season.
Atlanta's 4-6 in their last 10.
That's true, actually. But I'm just overall, I think these teams are tanking hard, and I think
I've never seen a race this close. I mean, 6 teams all tied.
I've never been more against the whole I think the Knicks need the tank, but I want the system to end. Like, just end completely. It just ruins basketball because you have to root for losses, and it's not fun.
Well, if the NBA hates it, then they should really just give everybody a 7% chance of winning the lottery.
Yeah, I think 1 through 14 should have the exact same odds. It doesn't. What's the point? Like, just have everyone the exact same odds. Because you know what? Also, every year it's like 4 teams have a shot at the finals anyway. It'd be kind of cool if the team that was 14 got the number 1 pick, and maybe they could vault into like a contender faster.
Right.
I don't know. Like this, we don't need to have like this whole like the worst record gets the best pick.
No, I mean it would be kind of exciting if like the Knicks or the Hornets got the number 1 pick and they went from like a 9th, 10th place team into the top 4.
I would completely agree. I would be very excited if the Knicks or New York got the top pick.
I mean, like not even just the Knicks, like for the NBA in general, like
I just want the goddamn top pick, Jay.
Is it that fun to see a team waffle between like 7th and 12th for 5 straight years?
No, it's goddamn brutal. But it's also brutal. Like, you have teams that are stuck here where you're like, I don't even know when they're getting out of this. Like, is Phoenix going to be good anytime soon?
No.
And Sacramento's been horrible for like since Mike Bibby left.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand also it comes down to tanking's not everything. You have to pick the right players. You have to still do a lot to build a team. Philly, who tanked for 4 straight years, they're just getting good, but they also kind of nailed a couple of their draft picks.
Yeah, I mean, you have to.
Yeah, and someone pointed out also that what was it? The year the Knicks drafted Jordan Hill, number 7. We all know the number 7 pick was Steph Curry, which we just missed out on. But did you realize the number 9 pick was DeMar DeRozan? Or I'd forgotten at least that.
Yeah, I had forgotten now. Thanks for the reminder for that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go into the. So I'm thinking that also if the Knicks aren't going to lose every game going forward, they should, but they're not going to, because you'll just see. I don't know what will happen. Okay, so here's what Perry had to say. We understand the importance of young guys growing and developing with playing time. That sound good?
Yes.
But I want this team to try to compete and try to win each and every night. That sound bad?
Sure does.
That part was not changed. Really, because the whole season when you were trying to compete, you sucked. So call it a day and try to get better players. Obviously, there are a lot of young guys deserving to play.
Okay, good.
Yeah. We're going to get them out there. Good.
Okay. Yep.
Competing.
Like
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hold them accountable. Sounds like that means short leashes for guys that are not vets.
Shying away from good again.
Not going to hold guys that who are vets accountable ever. Continue to watch them all grow and develop like they're your children. We want to continue to have a competitive environment.
Okay.
Really, you're 22 and 36. Has it been a competitive environment?
Maybe he means within the team for like this is 4 point guards.
Okay. I think that's what. Yeah, I mean, you have 3 young point guards. Those guys should all be competing for the job. I totally agree with that. I think that's what's important: establishing a competitive environment. Okay. In a separate answer, Perry added, "I believe in competition." That's good. You're a GM of a basketball team. That makes sense. I believe that competition brings out the best in people, in young people. That's part of the developmental cycle. Ultimately, that what we're trying to develop is to develop winning habits for players, and I think competition does that in the best manner. Does that even mean anything to you? I mean, that all makes some sense, but at the same time, it sounds pretty empty. Like, could you just say, "Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna focus on next year and play the guys that are gonna be here next year"?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. There's not much else there. That's how young players grow. They grow to respect the game. They will be able to pass that along to younger players. They're building a culture here.
Culture. The only other news this week is the Knicks might get Troy Williams, who was waived by the Rockets to get Joe Johnson.
Is Troy Williams good?
Hard to say. He hasn't gotten much playing time. He's young. He's 23. He plays the small forward position.
Yeah.
His per 36 is 10 and 8.5. I mean, he only played 4 games at 17 minutes a game.
Dude, I actually just pulled him up, and I just think this is funny. You know, they have the offensive rating and defensive rating per 100 possessions, which I don't know what to make of that, like how helpful that is.
Mm-hmm.
But his defensive rating is 105. Okay, what do you think his offensive rating is?
94.
59.
Cool.
That sounds a little off, but I don't think that has any. Those things are kind of a weird statistic.
Well, it's also a 4-game sample size.
I also looked at in just the per 100 possessions offensive rating, defensive rating. Do you know Enes Kanter has a better the better splits than LeBron James?
See, this is sometimes why advanced stats are not great.
Exactly. That's it. That's why we're going to offer Cleveland Enes Kanter straight up for LeBron James.
Go, just link them to the basketball reference page.
You have to do it, and we just throw in the Brooklyn pick because it's a lopsided trade in your favor.
Right, you guys definitely owe us stuff for this.
You actually missed. There is other big news. I don't know much about Troy Williams and whatever. There's other big news.
Okay.
Do you know that song by Matchbox 20, "Push"?
Yes.
How's it go? Like, I want to push you around, and I will push you around.
Mhm.
So Hornacek knows that because he was pushing Noah. Do you know about this?
When was
In their altercation, that big blow up that happened at the Golden State game, we're not sure the exact details, but apparently Hornacek initiated physical contact with Noah and pushed him.
that's not good.
Suit your coach in under any, just like we shouldn't have players choking coaches, which the Knicks apparently are okay with that as far as signing the players later on. Latrell Sprewell, but should a coach in any circumstance ever push a player?
Not unless it's a happy push.
Like, it's like pushing him away from a moving truck, maybe?
Yeah, or pushing him out of the way of a fight.
Or Noah's like, I'll give you $100 if you push me. And Hornacek's like, yeah, sounds good.
I want $100.
I don't know the full circumstances, but this sounds like a reason that Hornacek shouldn't have a job.
It sounds bad.
That sounds really bad to me, that you lost self-control with a player and you had to push him. And this guy was playing $18 million a year now. And not that a lot of people argue they shouldn't be playing anyway, but the guy is now banished from the team because you had like a physical altercation with the guy.
Yeah, I don't think you should banish the player because the coach pushed him in. I don't know. I mean, we're really not getting enough information on this, but on the face, it sounds bad.
Yeah, I mean, like if we were working under, I mean, we don't know a lot of the situation, but we do know that Hornacek kind of sucks as a coach anyway. So if we could use this as an excuse to get rid of him, I wouldn't be upset.
So you're all out on Hornacek.
Oh my God! We'll see what happens. I just I don't know. The team sucked last year with him. They sucked this year with him.
Yeah, but we knew they were going to suck this year.
No, I think if you look at
actually in our preseason rankings, you said they were going to win the championship.
I say that every year. In 1 year, I'll be right.
I said they'd finish in 9th, and even I was overestimated them.
I was shocked when I went after the first game when they lost, and my 82-0 prediction did not work out.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, but I mean, either way, forgetting the fact that I don't like him as a coach right now, his lineups seem kind of weird, and the team does not seem to be developing, and he doesn't favor the. It's just like it's weird, like not playing Dotson, and not that Dotson's the greatest thing ever, but it's just weird, and it's focusing too much on the vets. Whatever. I do think him putting his hands on the player is a pretty big thing.
Yeah, I'm surprised not more was made of that.
Well, I think it just came out.
I'm surprised it didn't come out immediately.
I'm surprised the Knicks didn't make more of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same environment where they, not quite as recent, but Isaiah Thomas, they tried to kind of sweep under the rug the whole sexual harassment thing till it became they couldn't sweep it under the rug anymore.
Yeah, it's the Knicks MO. If something bad happens, just pretend it didn't.
I mean, how did the Knicks not say, like, hey, you can't do this, and we're really upset? Like, Hornacek should have been, the Knicks should have at least said, Hornacek, you're suspended for like a game or two. Like, there should be some penalty for losing your cool, no matter what happens. If Noah gets in his face, Hornacek should not actually push him. Jay, would you push your co-host on the show? No matter how much I annoyed you?
No, and you do annoy me a lot.
I know. I think it's kind of absurd. I understand if players get into a fight, but I don't think the coach should actually be involved in the physical altercation. I understand. I think there should be some line where you have some self-control.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, they're both adults, and I understand it's not like him pushing a kid. Like a situation where you have a college coach push up, like have some kind of like match up with like a kid. That's insane.
The funny thing is, the last 6 coaches have all gotten fired for less.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's funny.
Nothing's funny about this franchise. I think we have a call.
We do. So we're going to go to our 10-minute segment. While we're getting ready for that, you guys can all leave iTunes reviews. We are NY Knicks.
All of you right now.
nyknickspodcast@gmail.com. We're NY Knicks Podcast on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Patreon. Why don't you join our Patreon for as low as $1 a month? Help support the show.
What's our address on Pornhub?
And our website is thenewyorknickspodcast.com. You can get some Knicks podcast shirts as well.
Okay.
So any shirt comes with a Knicks pen. So there you go.
How much do you spend on those Knicks pens?
All right, we don't have time for that. We have to go to our call. We'll be right back.
Okay, we are joined here by diehard Knicks fan Bill. How you doing, Bill?
I'm good. I'm better than the Knicks, but I'm pretty good.
Well, anyone's better than the Knicks, so.
Exactly.
Is this how you expected the season to go?
No, absolutely not. I thought we were going to make some strides and hopefully make the playoffs, but that's okay. It is what it is, and I'm looking at a more positive outlook, hopefully, so we'll see.
So in other words, before you watch Knicks games, now you're taking some Valium, and so you're just feeling good during the whole game.
No, I'm not watching it as much as I should anymore, to be honest, because I can't stand some of the older guys that are playing right now. It's just it's embarrassing.
It's also, you said I'm not watching as much as I should, as if we should all torture ourselves with an inept basketball team. Yet we do anyway. Who do you hate on the team? Tell me the vets you hate that are playing, who got big mitts in the Wizards game.
Oh my God, man! Just everyone, like Moutier. I mean, I hate to start with him because he's pretty young, but
he's our future.
I hope not. A big time, So it just makes me so mad because Donovan Mitchell, they interviewed him recently this weekend over All-Star break. He's like, yeah, I would have loved to have been drafted by the Knicks. He came and worked out. And, same with Kyrie Irving. He said some things about playing with KP. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see. But who do I hate on the Knicks? I mean, Moutier, I don't hate as much. Let's try to develop him and tell him to shoot less, please, and be a point guard and distribute the ball. But Jack and Lance Thomas. I mean, I would be remiss if I did not mention both of them because they are so bad. And when KP, just the fact that he wants a real good, supporting cast. Like a Kyrie Irving or even other role players, these two players are just, I mean, this is who he's working with. It's so frustrating, and I'm sure it's frustrating being KP when he was playing with such a crappy supporting cast.
I mean, just in fairness, let's just be realistic. I mean, Jared Jack is the top 60 point guard in the NBA, so that's one. And
That's true.
And Lance Thomas, I mean, you never know. Some guys develop their offensive game in year 14 in the league. It could happen still. So,
yeah, but it's so funny. He has such a low IQ. I don't understand it. I hate to say it because I sit there and I guess I watch the games and I try to, just try to analyze like any Knicks fan does, and it's just he's just so dumb with the ball. Oh my God! It's just he doesn't know how to move his feet on offense. He just forgets how to play the game on offense.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, my understanding is that, and this is inside information, but Michael Beasley is tutoring Lance Thomas on how to use 10% of his brain. So we should be good.
Is that really happening? Wow.
Who else do you hate? So you hate Jared Jack, you hate Lance Thomas, and so does every Knicks fan. Who else?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's not just the players because, what I've been hearing a lot has been players don't wanting to come because of other things, the ownership, obviously, but even I hate to say it, even Mills and the coaching staff, just everyone, it just turns people off. I was watching. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I would say I think. I mean, the Knicks are a kind of a disaster. They've been bad for a while. And as far as attracting free agents, no one ever wants to come to a bad team. You never hear about the free agents that are like, Golden State offered me a chance to win a bunch of titles, but I could go play in New York. And there's no other way to get to New York with the $50 million they make a year. So
Exactly. I mean, it's not that, some people like to play in New York, but it's not a big draw when the ownership down is all toxic. I mean, the whole Bill Belichick thing. He said he didn't want to come to the Jets. It's almost the same reason. He's like, because it's as far as ownership goes, it would have been a shit show because it was either the Dolans or Woody Johnson. He didn't like either. So I don't know.
So you're gonna bring up Bill Belichick and make me feel bad about my other team, the Jets? Really? Thanks.
Well, I mean, they were my other team too. So it's so funny. It's both are toxic with all these, and you know what, Dolan, I at least appreciate the fact that he's giving all the reins to somebody else, but give it to somebody else that's not from the losing toxic era. Like Steve Mills, give it to somebody brand new with a brand new staff. But we all know this. I mean. It's ridiculous. But on the positive side, I mean, we can please tank and try to get a top 5 pick, at least a top 10. So we'll see.
I mean, so I asked Jay this before when we were talking. So the Knicks right now are in 9th place. They have 23 victories. Number 8 is Chicago, 20. 7 is Brooklyn with 19. Then the top 6 are all tied with 18 victories. If the Knicks pulled off the miracle tank, and
I love the tank following the tank standings.
Yeah. There, what's important. If the Knicks pull up the miracle tank and don't win another game the rest of the season, which can be accomplished by telling Hornacek to go out and win every game going forward. If the Knicks do pull up the miracle tank, what place will the Knicks end up in? Do you think?
Yeah. What place? I mean, hopefully top 3, but it's too late. I mean, realistically speaking, I was trying to, I thought they should have tanked while KP was still playing. I guess he didn't want to lose or whatever, but I mean that's pretty normal. But I thought they should have tanked a long time ago, and because they didn't, because they won some of these stupid games and then lost against the Atlanta Hawks and the Bulls, now they're in a terrible position because they have to pull off a miracle tank, even just to get a top 3 pick, which is very, very Knicks.
So I'm calling it right now. Last time Hardaway was on the team, he caught fire the last couple of games of the season, cost us Towns. This year, we're going to pull off an almost perfect tank, lose the next 18. Hardaway's going to catch fire. We're going to win the last 5.
Oh, my God.
Ruin the
Seriously.
On tankathon.com, which is a go-to site for any Knicks fan every year, there's they have the rankings, and you can hit simulation lottery, so you'll see where you end up. And so with the odds, I played with this at work the other day. On my 30th try, I got the Knicks to the top 3. So
there's hope.
A bunch of times we actually ended up moving down to the 10th spot from the 9th spot because that's only the Knicks would do that.
Very typical of us. I mean, look at last year. We jumped. We went down 2 spots in the last 2 games in the last game. Basically, it's crazy.
Yeah, but at least we got in the right spot and got our man Frank Ntilikina, so everything's good. And have you had so?
I mean, I guess when I watched him in this, I don't know if you guys saw him or talked about the whole Rising Stars game, right? I watched him and I was trying to root for him, but somebody like Donovan Mitchell, man, just watching him play and he's a man amongst boys. He's a small guy, but he looks very strong and
he looks really good. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Frank, I mean, he just kind of disappears out there. I don't know. I mean, I guess at least we have his defense, which is I'm not down on Frank. A lot of people are he's 19, he's going to develop, but an offensive game, he can develop that. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, if you had Dennis Smith, you'd be watching his offense, being the offense looks okay, but his defense looks horrible.
Suspect. His defense is suspect, and his other things are suspect. His health. So yeah, I mean, not Dennis Smith, but Donovan Mitchell. Come on, let's just talk about.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, we all feel horrible. Donovan Mitchell would have been oh good, we have another All-Star to pair with KP.
That would have been a crazy pairing.
Yeah, and it's all about just nailing that pick. Also, you don't have to pick number 1 to nail it, to get the best player. But
And this is the problem, because Phil, man, I don't know. Just Phil, he wanted some guy to fit in the triangle. Now we've ditched the triangle for the pick and roll, and we don't have a pick and roll point guard. So I don't know.
I can't give Phil crap for this pick though, because Ntilikina, it sounded like a guy you should take. A guy we need defense. He plays defense. He's a point guard. We need a point guard. No one was projecting Donovan Mitchell to break the top 10 in the draft. So no one said this guy should be a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
There's always scouting just doesn't nail everything. So
yeah, but a lot of people said that about Ntilikina also, right? Because a lot of European players come, they're usually busts, So some people dropped Ntilikina out of the top 10, but because we had, a couple other guys that couldn't play defense, I guess we got him, which I'm not totally down on. Let's see what he has to. Let's see, give him a couple of years like we did KP, and we'll see.
Yeah, I mean the guys if you look at the guys that they were talking about the Knicks taking, like Malik Monk has already fallen out of the rotation.
Terrible.
He's looked terrible.
Horrible. Yeah, he's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, Dennis Smith doesn't look like a guy we don't regret not taking him.
Yeah.
And who was the? I guess I forget if there's anyone else. And those are the main guys we were thinking about. Ideally, we would have
not many choices, but we could have had other choices if we tanked right. But yeah.
Ideally, the Knicks would have not screwed up the last week of the season, and they would have had De'Aaron Fox, who I would have loved to have had, and he looks better.
He's all right. He's all right. I mean, I just zero in on Mitchell, but you're right. I mean, it's a crapshoot.
It's a
I don't
crapshoot.
know. Yeah, but you know what? I disagree. I think it was Jay who said something along the lines of, or no, it was somebody else that was like, oh, well, if you get a top 5 pick, it doesn't guarantee. Yeah, it doesn't guarantee, but you're going to get the chances of you getting a superstar player increases when you have a top 3, top 5 pick, So that's what we need to focus on right now. Let's tank right. Let's lose all the games.
It's easier to pick a good player when everyone's on the table, or 3 or 4 guys are moved from the table. It's easier to pick a really good player. When 10 guys are off the board, it's a little harder. And obviously, Kyle Kuzma, who's one of the better players in the draft, was drafted number 27th. And if the Knicks had taken Kyle Kuzma, people would be like, what the hell are you doing? But it would have worked out well. I mean,
totally. I mean, those are just diamonds in the rough. But top 5 picks, usually, you're probably going to get a good player,
right?
Especially if it's a good, talented draft.
Right. There's a great draft. If you drafted number 1 in this draft, you would have nailed it with Markelle Fultz, and everything would be good.
Yeah, we'll see what he has. But yeah, but the other 2 players, I mean, Tatum is a beast, so I don't know.
Would you trade this year's number 1 pick and Ntilikina for Markelle Fultz right now?
No. Give me a realistic trade, I could be willing to give up anything.
But the thing is, before the season started, you would have said that's the greatest thing ever. But obviously, that does not look very good right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's Danny Ainge. He's a genius, He just gave it up, got a better player, and it all worked out for him again.
Yes. So, Knicks, on the positive, KP's out for a while. We're probably bad that we're going to get a higher pick this year. Probably a decent pick next year. We could kind of build with those picks, hopefully. If we could
Tankathon, baby. Next 2 or 3 years. Tank.
Let me ask
Noah
you,
off the books.
besides Ntilikina, what young guy in this roster do you think is going to be a pretty good NBA player?
Oh my God, Dotson he's strong, he's tall, he's 6'7", and he could play guard. He's very strong. He has an outside shot. I mean, the fact that Hornacek isn't playing him every game from the start of the season is just. It just makes me so mad. And he's giving, Jack 30 minutes and Thomas. This is the frustration. This is why I can't really watch anymore.
Okay, we did 10 minutes with you. Last question before we leave. Do you think a coach should be fired for pushing a player?
Why? Which player would? Are we talking about a specific player?
Joakim Noah. It was been reported. I mean that in their altercation, Hornacek pushed Joakim Noah, and Hornacek initiated the physical contact. It wasn't in response to Noah pushing him. We don't know the full context of the whole story. Maybe Noah was pushed. Maybe Hornacek pushed Noah to get him, and because there was a car coming. We don't know. But do you think that is something that, and I understand the players fight each other, but
He saved his life.
yeah. So do you think
Okay.
crossing that line is grounds for being fired?
I guess I mean, if I don't know, but I'm hoping that he probably does get fired just because either way, I mean, I don't know.
Let me rephrase the question. If you don't like the coach anyway and want him fired, is him pushing a player grounds for him being fired?
Yes, then probably.
So we are out of our 10 minutes with you. Anything you want? Any predictions you want to make for the rest of the season?
No. Let's tank. I don't know how you guys feel. I'll hear this episode back, but I'm in the tank game.
We like those three ideas you mentioned just there. I think number 1 was the tank, 2 was the tank, and 3 was the tank. It sucks, so why not?
Why not?
I was not on the board of I wasn't out on board with tanking earlier this season. I like how they were playing. If they were playing competitive, I'm totally fine. Yeah. But when KP broke, so did my faith in anything good happening ever again.
Yeah, exactly. And it's actually going to be interesting to watch the rest of the season because it's kind of a really close tankathon. A lot of teams are trying to tank, so we have to hope that we lose every game and laugh because I don't know. Just put Jack in. He's gonna help us lose when we were winning by 23 points against the Wizards. I was like, Jack is in, and he did it. He triumphed in the end, and he got us to the loss. We got to keep watching.
Is it weird in some respect that we lost one player, the rest of our roster is pretty much healthy, and we are now basically the worst team in the NBA from losing one player?
Oh yeah. So no, so when people in comments and other places they're just talking smack about KP or KP had a bad game. I'm like, dude, his supporting cast is Jared Jack and Lance Thomas. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So now we know okay, he's the only reason why we're winning any games.
I mean, I understand how he got injured. He was carrying 300 pounds of doo-doo on his back the whole season.
Exactly. Yeah. And even Tim, I mean, hopefully he plays some defense down the road. I'm trying to not hold my negative comments about Tim, but he needs to play defense. His shot will come, but he needs to play defense.
We need Timmy to be better because we have 3 more years of him. So
yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, keep it up. I love listening to the show.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for calling in.
Do you have any Twitter or anything you want to plug?
No.
All right. Thanks for coming on. It was a great call.
All right. See you guys.
Later.
Bye.
Another good call.
Thank you, Bill, for calling in. I have to say, I think we are booked for... I'm not even positive we're booked for next week. I have to double check. I think we're booked for next week, but then after that, I don't think we have too many calls scheduled. So if you are a diehard fan and want to talk to us, shoot us an email, and we would love to have you on.
Really? I thought we were booked for another month.
I have no idea, Jay. I don't think, actually. I think we were. I'm not sure we were booked for next week. We might be booked for next week, but after that, I think we're not booked for a while.
Okay.
Anyway, I think we booked someone for April, but because they couldn't do it before then. But
maybe that's what I saw. I thought we were booked through April.
No. I think March is wide open. I'm pretty sure March is wide open, and I am not even sure we have someone for next week. So, hey, All-Star game happened. Team LeBron versus Team Steven. Did Team Jay give a crap?
I never care about the actual All-Star game. I like the Saturday events, the 3-point shot and skills challenge and all that. So
Jay, why don't you tell me what happened, as I don't even know.
Okay, that started at 8:00, and at 7:45 my cable went out until midnight.
Wow. So you don't even.
This is just the kind of 2018 I'm having so far.
Oh my God! Did
all day I'm like, I can't wait. This is the one thing I look forward to.
Did the cable company give you credit for the day?
I didn't even call them.
You should call them, get your money. I used to always do that with Time Warner, not because I wanted the credit for the $1.30 for that day, because I wanted to go this is what you get for giving bad service. The only punishment I can give is make you give me $1.30 of credit on my account.
I think it's because I have DirecTV and it's a satellite, and it started snowing like right before the event.
Oh.
But snow shouldn't. I mean, it snowed before, and I've gotten reception, so I don't know.
How is DirecTV? Is it good?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay. You know what you could do? You could do DirecTV Now, which is like through the internet. If you want to get rid of, not have the satellite. No, who cares? We're talking about Knicks.
Yeah.
So the All-Star game. So I guess you didn't see the skills competition, right?
No, I saw the celebrity game on Friday. It has gotten so bad. It was like unwatchable.
Why was it so bad? I didn't even see it.
They basically got rid of anybody even remotely interesting. I didn't even know who half the people were. Ever since Michael Rappaport left, it's gone downhill.
They should do something to make it more interesting.
They tried. They added a 4-point shot in the second half.
Why only in the second half?
I don't
Where
know.
is the 4-point line like a wider arc? Like just or what was the 4-point line?
To tell you the truth, I didn't even make it to the second half. It was so bad. They had like a 10-year-old and an 11-year-old playing. It was just weird.
They should do something like Jamie Foxx is playing, and they're like, Jamie Foxx, we found out we have leaked video of you cheating on your wife, and we're going to release it at halftime if you don't play well.
It's weird. They have like Jamie Foxx, and they have that Armstrong guy who does the YouTube impersonations of players, and then they have like Paul Pierce.
They should. Do they ever do celebrities versus just the players? Because it might even be better that way. Just like to see Jamie Foxx just get blocked after blocked after blocked.
Right.
Like to see NBA players just destroy them like they're kids.
Yeah, because they had Tracy McGrady there too. Yeah, I mean, he's like 5 years removed from being in the NBA, but against a normal human, he would still crush.
Oh yeah. Funny. You could take just like random players in the league, random scrubs, and they would destroy anyone that going to play you.
Yeah, even WNBA players would just destroy.
So I know I think did Donovan Mitchell win the dunk contest?
Yeah.
So I saw that dunk. That was pretty good dunk. Pretty good dunk from a guy that the Knicks didn't draft. And then who won the 3-point contest?
Booker. He actually broke Larry Bird's record.
Oh, so why the Suns suck so much?
Well, Booker is
we're talking about Devin Booker,
incredibly bad
right?
on defense, and he's one of the only good players on the team.
Oh, yeah. Because he's supposed to be like people were talking about him being one. I remember he had that 70-point game, but I haven't heard too much about him this year.
Yeah, I mean he's good. It's just he's the same situation as like a Canner, where he has to put up crazy points to make up for his terrible defense.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
he
I guess
does. But you need also like, can you even name anybody else on that team?
No, I mean Booker's shot. I'm just looking at his field goal percentage isn't that great. It's like his shooting percentage is not that amazing. But he's decent from 3. He's not that it matters, but his offensive rating, defensive rating, 107 to 115. Yeah, the whole team is pretty bad. I mean, they have Canadian players on that team. They have Alex Len, another bad draft pick. They have who else is on that team?
See,
I thought I was going to be able to rattle off some players. Now I can't even think of anyone on that damn team.
I believe Tyson Chandler is still on that team.
They do have Tyson Chandler. I know they cut Greg Monroe at some point.
Yeah, the Celtics picked him up.
Yeah, which the and the skills competition went to Spencer Dinwiddie or whatever. How do you pronounce his name? Dinwiddle or?
I think it's Dinwiddie.
Dinwiddie. Okay. Taking the crown from KP from last year.
Yep.
And then the All-Star game, Team LeBron came back and won the game. Did you watch any of the All-Star game?
No.
I was the only thing about it. I was like, well, the best players are playing. My son is starting to like basketball. We'll watch some of the All-Star game. That'd be fun. And then they realized they showed the All-Star game at 8:00, like his bedtime. And I'm like, oh, great. Like I could show him a little of the game, but whatever. Like I don't know why they don't start the game earlier for the All-Star game. Like why the only people that are into this game are kids.
Right. Yeah, I have no idea.
No, it's still at least it looked like everyone said it was a more competitive game, but I also I don't know. I don't care much about Team LeBron versus How would you redo the All-Star game to make it better, Jay?
I kind of like the picking, having team captains and picking. I would definitely televise that
Okay.
because you need to see the guys getting picked last and getting upset. That's fun.
Yeah, that would be kind of fun. Yeah, I still like my idea of having the Golden State Warriors versus the rest of the other All-Star team, and just see how it goes.
Yeah, but you don't want to.
That would be kind of fun to watch. You see the East All-Stars versus the Golden State Warriors. Who wins that game?
The All Stars.
Maybe.
Wait, you're gonna have Atem Kwampo coming off the bench against David West.
I mean that
As
all
soon as
makes.
the bench went in, they would get blown out by 30 points.
But Golden State has the fact that they've been playing together for so long. They have real chemistry.
No,
The guys in the
no.
East has no chemistry.
No. John
Uh,
writes, "This is only my first season following the Knicks, but what's the argument against trading away all the players older than 25 or so for draft picks and younger talent?"
The argument against that is we're the Knicks.
I have no argument against that.
Yeah, why not? I mean, you're bad. You might as well go fully bad and develop the guys that have a future on the team. Seems to make sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Is that it for emails, Jay?
There's I was all these so far are just you booking people. So there is 3 or 4 more people. Okay, Matt writes. So this is from a Reddit thread, because the other week we were talking about
Mark Jackson,
as taking over as coach. So I'm not going to read all these because it's really long, but here's some of the things that happened with Mark Jackson.
Well, these are all allegations, alleged, nothing we know for certain.
Exactly.
But it was from a Reddit thread, and you could just say, I mean, who the hell knows? Reddit's not the most accurate place always, but go on.
Staged a coup of John Stockton while he was on the Jazz, causing Stockton to retire. This is the one that I'm most skeptical about.
Okay. I thought, wait, did he retire, Darren Williams or whatever got Jerry Sloan to retire. Was Stockton already gone when Darren Williams got there? Or did he got...
I think so.
You might be right. Okay,
I'm just going to skip to the coaching stuff. Ran iso ball all the time. Instilled us versus them, where them was the entire front office. He would tell players that the front office didn't want them to win so that Mark Jackson would look bad. Barred Jerry West and Jim Barnett, their TV color guy, along with everyone else for practices so they couldn't hear the crazy stuff he was saying to the team. Told the team Ezeli was rooting for them to lose so that Ezeli would look better. This culminated in Ezeli in tears saying that there was no way he would do this when confronted by the team. Told the team that Harrison Barnes was possessed by a demon, which is why he regressed. All right. If that's true, then...
That one sounds a little bit, I don't know. You really might want to have some more evidence in that one.
I would like a link to that. If that's true, I want him nowhere near the Knicks.
Yes, yeah. Anyone who believes that a player regressed because of a demon probably is not the guy you want coaching your team. But I don't know if this is true.
I mean, there's a whole... This list goes on and on and on. But all you need in the list is that he didn't play Draymond Green because he thought he wasn't that good. But
I mean, all you really need on the list is that the team was good, and then he left. And they went on to become they win 70 games, basically.
Right.
Yeah, that's a big jump. Basically, a team that wins 50 games and you leave and they win 20 more. I mean, you could argue they just kind of came into their own after either. I mean, who the hell knows?
Thank you, Matt from Perth.
Yes.
That is it for emails.
Okay. We have Facebook questions as well. Jason writes, yes, question 1 is why don't you do Brink during Knicks? Why are you doing Knicks? Is it like beating up a dead horse? So why you don't do Brink? Doing Knicks is like beating a dead horse. That's correct. That's the name of that's.
The Brink of Sanity is our comedy podcast. brinkofsanityshow.com. I've been going through some stuff, which is why we haven't been doing Brink as much. Hoping to pick that up again soon.
Jay, what have you been going through?
Usual just mental breakdowns and anxiety and stuff. It's hard to. It's weird. Who would have thought? It's really hard to do a comedy podcast when you're having panic attacks.
Are you panicking that the Knicks won't lose enough games going forward?
I've accepted that.
Okay. Gilliam writes, what do you predict would happen if Horny did like Kerr and let the players coach themselves for a game or two?
Why not at this point?
What do you think about that? Kerr said he let the players coach themselves.
I'm fine with that.
I mean, on a good team, that probably works fine. What would happen if the Knicks coach themselves? I guess the question is, how would they even do this? Would Jared Jack be like the coach, or what would happen? I mean, I guess the vets would play, because like the Wizard game, the vets would probably favor the vets.
Yeah, that's true.
James writes, who would you vote for as the New York Knicks MVP? My vote is Cantor. He has more questions, but let's answer this first question. Who would you vote for as the New York Knicks MVP, Jay?
That would. It's not a long list. It would have to be Cantor. It would have to be Cantor.
You wouldn't give it to KP?
No.
Why not?
Because he had like 2 to 3 good weeks.
I don't know. KP plays some defense. He's in those 2 to 3 weeks he played in the whole season. He's played a lot more defense than Cantor has. It's not even close. Cantor's defense is pretty miserable.
Yeah.
Cantor's not like. There's a reason Cantor is tough to play in the fourth quarter. There's a lot of problems with Cantor. He's not. I understand he's really efficient on offense. I love it. His offensive rebounding is great. His grit, he tries really hard. That's great. On defense, when he's out there, it's like no one is covering. There's no rim protection whatsoever when he's out there. It is completely lacking, and it's hard to see Cantor being our center of the future. So I have trouble saying he should be our MVP. He's MVP of Twitter, but I don't know if he's like really like. Are there a lot of teams that these days would start him at center?
There's probably half the teams.
I'm not going to go through the list, but I think he's a tough guy to start. Anyone will give him minutes off the bench, but I don't know if he's really a guy that you're like going to build your team around. I'd give KP the MVP on this team. You want to not knock him for being injured and missing part of the season. That the part of the season not even going to matter. But KP, the team lived and died. KP left the team. They went from being at least semi-respectable, not even respectable. Whatever this is, they went from this to being possibly the worst team in the NBA. So whatever you want to say, and whatever he missed shots or whatever, the team was still a lot better with KP. If you still have KP, you lose Cantor, the Knicks are fine. They're still about what they were. They're still winning more games than they're losing. Like, who makes a bigger difference, KP or Cantor? Is it even close? Come on, Jay.
Yeah, but I don't know. We're just talking about somebody who played like 40 games and wasn't great for like 10 of them.
Yeah, whatever. I'm angry about this whole season, okay? 2, from James. Do the Knicks feel sending Frank to Westchester for a week would hurt more than help?
I'm not against it. I mean, now I'm against it because I want him playing all the time. They should have done that like when he was playing 5 minutes a game. So
someone made the argument again, maybe it was on Twitter or whatever, or maybe on Facebook, that the idea of saying Frank to Westchester, and like the idea we all think is that he's not being aggressive and that he'll get his confidence back up, and getting to play 30 minutes a night will be very helpful in Westchester, right? That's the basic idea?
Yeah. So
the argument against it was the real issue with Frank is he hasn't adjusted to the speed of the game. The game is a lot faster. It's going to be a lot faster than it is at Westchester. And that's what he needs to be doing now, is just playing in the NBA and learning the speed of the game. And playing in Westchester is not going to be very helpful when it's what he needs to do is adjust to the speed of the game. Like in the NBA, in Westchester, you probably can make a pass and not be as accurate, or you don't have to adjust the fact that every guy on the floor is fast enough to intercept this pass and take it the other way. You have to hit every pass right, or else you're going to be screwed, basically. And Frank needs to adjust to that kind of thing.
Yeah, but sometimes when you play on a slower mode, it's easier when you get to the faster mode.
Yeah, no, I thought it was an interesting argument. I don't know. I guess I agree with. I guess I agree with you. If a couple of weeks ago, I probably would have said, let's give Frank some run in Westchester. But now, I also agree with you that let's just play him here.
Like, I was just thinking from like a video game perspective. If like you're playing Rock Band, you can't start on the hard level. You start on the easy level and you work your way up.
What would be a more fireable offense? Hornacek pushing Noah, or you coaching them using Rock Band analogies?
I liked my Rock Band analogy.
James writes, should Hornacek's substitution decisions make sense?
We are almost 60 games into the season, and we're getting questions about the coach making sense. That pretty much sums up the season.
I mean, on the one hand, you have a pile of crap we're working with, and it's like, I understand some issues with it. I don't understand him not playing Dotson. What are the big issues here? I don't understand him not playing Dotson. Some of the lineups when he has like Lance Thomas, Beasley, and Cantor out there, or like he goes too many bigs that can't play any defense out there. It's problematic.
It's hard. It's a crap roster, but he is playing some of the guys that have contracts after this year. Like, we don't want to see Thomas out there, but you were saying the other week that he should be playing guys that are going to be around next year.
Yeah, I mean, that's my argument. That's my argument for Noah. I mean, Noah at least makes more sense to play than Kyler Quinn, because I feel like whatever you want to say about Kyler Quinn, he's not that great. He's fine. He's not worth us spending even more goddamn money on the center position when we're going to spend a ton between Cantor and Noah. Like, how much money can you spend at center?
We'll find out.
Do you think the Knicks are going to re-sign Kyler Quinn? Like, I still don't think he's going to opt in. I just don't see him opting in for $4 million. So, what do you think the Knicks do with him?
I think they pull a Lynn and say, go out there and see what kind of offers you get. And
I would say, Kyler Quinn, go out there, see what offers you get, and then don't call us about the offers.
And then take those offers.
I mean, he's fine. Like, it's just like in a world where like Cantor wasn't going to be here, I'd make a bigger argument to keep him. But it's going to be weird if you're like, I'm going to put $18 million in Cantor, or 19 Cantor at $18 million, $18 million on Noah, and then I'm going to give like $8 more million, say, for Noah, and we're really going to get Pete next year. I mean, you're doing that. You're just like, white flag, we're going for the tank.
Right.
But you got to like take that $8 million and spend it anywhere else. We have so many holes.
So you don't want the entire salary cap to go toward one position?
Yes, and it's amazing if we do that and the position is still terrible.
Yeah.
I understand if we were like, we spent $40 million or $45 million on this one position, and we had LeBron James at this position, or we had like two amazing players. We have just a pile of your MVP Cantor, whatever you want to say about that. You have Noah, who we barely play. Kyle, the lineup of O'Quinn, and Cantor makes other teams giddy. Like, you're like, okay, so they're going to have no rim protection out there between the two of those guys.
Right.
I mean, Kyle O'Quinn is... I mean, do you think either one... Like, do you think Kyle O'Quinn's all that great on defense? He's decent on help defense with blocks, but his defense, like, you watch when he's out there, guys are just getting layup after layup in the paint.
Yeah, he's not great.
He's a decent passer, so is Noah. Noah's
He's all right.
Passer. Kyle, he's decent. I mean, I'm sure you get playing time as a backup at other places, but I don't know. I just don't understand the whatever. I do kind of also want to see what Luke Cornett give him. Like, there's no reason that Luke Cornett can't get 15 minutes at center also, just to see what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Gilliam writes, how many games do you predict the Knicks will win the rest of the season? I say 5-18, which would make it 28-54. For the last seasons, that would be the fourth worst record in 2017, the 5th worst record in 2016, the 6th worst record in 2015, 7th in 2014, 6th in 2013, and 7th in 2012. So my prediction is the Knicks would select around 6th if they don't win the lottery.
Sad thing is they could do that, and that might be like the 9th pick this year.
Yeah, I think this is 28 victories. I have a lot of trouble believing the top 6 teams will each win 10 games to match 28 victories. Or the top 17. The tankathon right now, going back to that, the top 6 teams have 18 wins. Do you think any of those teams are going to win 10 games going forward? That's
Maybe 1 or 2 of them. It's bad.
And is Brooklyn going to win 19 wins? Is Brooklyn going to win 9 games?
No.
28 victories probably leaves you at 9th place.
Yeah.
So I like the Miracle Tank. Knicks have 23 games to go. What will actually happen, Jay?
I think it's going to start off with the Miracle Tank. I think they're going to lose 18, and then Hardaway's going to ruin it.
Yeah, that could happen. Let's just going to since we are tanking now. Let's go to the.
I am almost positive Hardaway's going to ruin this somehow.
I mean, he will because you can shoot us. You can play well. Okay, so let's just see between now and next show. The Knicks are playing
Tough tank game. Tough tank game next game.
So they have 2 games coming up. They have Orlando and Boston. They have Golden State actually the following Monday. Boston and Golden State. Unless Boston and Golden State think the game's like they screw up with the location of the game, those are in the bag tanks. Orlando, and this is where it gets interesting. Is Orlando is one of those teams that is 18 wins. So that is a
huge tank game.
That is a huge tank game. And Hornacek might just say, let's just give the vets one more game. Hornacek, that's going to be a tough game for the Knicks to lose. It will be a competitive game. It'll be a close game. Okay, so what's your prediction rest of the season, Jay?
I'm saying it 5 and 18.
That sounds good for me too. Matt writes, 1. Would you? Oh, he has a couple questions, so we'll do them one at a time. Matt writes, would like to hear your thoughts on Tim Hardaway coming out of his slump, yet Knicks blow a big lead. Not a bad thing. So this has been I guess starting around 1993, the NBA started recording size of leads blown in a game. So before that, I guess they didn't record it. Jay, do you know of the 5 biggest leads the Knicks have ever blown? 3 of them happened this season.
Why am I not surprised?
What does that say? And one of them, the number one, the biggest lead they've ever blown was in the Wizards game. That was number 1. That was, I think, 28 points they blew that lead. I forget the exact. Maybe 28, 27 points. Don't ever quote us on the show as we know no facts. Jay, but what do you think about the fact, what's it say about Hornacek, that they blew 3 of the 5 worst, their worst, 3 of their biggest 5, biggest blown games are this season. What does that say about Hornacek?
Well, I mean, we knew this team would be horrible on defense, and that's a good sign that you're bad on defense.
I don't know. I think it's a bad sign of coaching that you're up 25 points, you can't figure out how to win the damn game. It's pretty bad.
See, the problem is I can't tell if it's a bad coach or just a terrible roster, or maybe a little of both. It's
always a little both the Knicks. That's pretty bad though. What do you think about the fact that they blew against the how do you and I knew they were going to blow that game against the Wizards. I kind of just saw it. I was like, I'm still think the tank is going to work out here.
Yeah, that's the problem with the state of the season. Even when they're up, you're like, no, they'll still lose.
Hornacek, I think Timmy Hardaway had, I think, 32 points in the first half, and then 5 the rest of the way.
Well, I heard right after he scored a bucket in the second half, Beal went up to him and said, you're not scoring the rest of the game, and then he pretty much didn't.
Yeah. Why can't the Knicks ever do that? The Knicks would ever Jared Jack went up to Kevin Durant and said, "You're not scoring again." Then Durant put 50 on.
I hope that's not a sign of Hardaway just being weak.
By the way, you know who? I don't know. By the way, Michael Beasley's looked kind of miserable lately. Also, Not lately. Since KP went out and they put Beasley in the starting role, I've not been impressed with his chance to shine.
Yeah, he hasn't been horrible, but he hasn't really impressed.
The fact that if you rethought Michael Beasley in light of the fact that KP's not going to be back till like second half of next year, do you still want Beasley back next year?
Yeah.
I don't know. What's the point now? I understand the point of having Beasley if you're trying to compete. But if you're not trying to compete, what's the point of having him?
What's the point of anything?
I don't know. Matt's second question, is Mark Jackson any chance of coaching us next year?
I hope not.
Yeah. That's also, you kind of wonder if they fire Hornacek, are they just going to make even like another terrible choice?
Of course.
And I also think you shouldn't just pick a guy because he has like a ties to the team. There's got to be other reasons to pick a guy. Matt writes, the third question was, Emmanuel Mudiay looked good in his debut. How do you see him going forward? Cheers, guys.
It's weird. Mudiay looked good in his debut and then looked bad after that, and so did Cornette. It's like we should just sign one-day contracts for everybody.
Well, in fairness to Cornette, I have to say he only played one other game, really. I mean, he had a couple minutes like garbage. The second game he got to play, like he's a center, and they had him play power forward, and so he didn't look as good because he was playing out of position. Also, like your second game ever in the NBA, they're like, try a different position. But yeah, I mean, he also had like 13 minutes. You might have to like give these guys a little more like play him for 20 minutes to see how it goes. Like give him a chance not to like guys. I feel like if you know you're only gonna play 5 minutes in a night or 10 minutes, you might try to overdo it. You make dumb mistakes basically and get too nervous out there. If you know you're gonna get 20 minutes, you might figure stuff out better.
Right.
But Mudiay, do you think? Is there a chance Mudiay is part of our future? Like, really part of our future?
There's a chance. I mean, I would say probably not, but I guess there's a chance he figures it out. He's got to cut down on his turnovers, and he's got to get a shot.
Yeah, he's a low-risk, high-reward kind of player. He has the tool set there. He can't shoot, turns the ball over. His defense apparently has been pretty bad also, which I haven't really watched him in Denver, but apparently his defense is pretty bad too.
Yeah, apparently his defense has been absolutely terrible, which was like the one good thing he was supposed to be really good at.
Yeah.
Kind of like Wiggins.
Yes, that is surprising also with Wiggins. I don't know. Do you still want to see a lot of Mudiay and Frank playing together?
Yeah, it sounds good for the tank.
I mean, what are your reaction to a lot of that? Frank's been playing a lot of off the ball.
Well, I mean, that's what you want with your point guard of the future, for him not to have the ball in his hands.
I mean, I have to say, I was thinking about this, and the one positive of that is maybe Frank needs to develop his offensive game a little more and be a little more selfish. If he plays off the ball, it forces him to develop his offensive game a little more.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah, you got to always look at, like you have to say, like, you can't just say why the Knicks are doing this, because the Knicks are doing this, they're probably just doing it for some ass-backwards reason. Just pretend the Spurs made this decision and try to think of it in the best possible light.
Right, but that wouldn't be the correct answer, because the Knicks don't think like the Spurs.
Like, you say, like, Noah, you banned the guy from the arena, he's making $18 million. Let's pretend the Spurs did it, and the reason is
that he is on some like karmic retreat.
He has bird flu, and they want to keep the other players from getting the bird flu because it's highly contagious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Seems
Not
reasonable.
that. Yeah. I'm trying to think of good. And Jeffrey writes, do you think Frank will ever be aggressive enough to be our starting point guard? Just watched him play among his peers in the Rising Stars Challenge. Not 1 ounce of attitude or aggressiveness. Forget sending him to the G League. Send him to Rucker Park for the summer. I kind of like that idea.
I mean, he's got he's 19. I mean,
I mean,
he's 19. I'm just going to keep saying that until he plays better.
until he's 20.
Until he turns
He's 27. Leave me alone. I guess the idea is there's other players come in the league, even if they're not good right away, that you could sense they have a bit of edge to them.
Right.
And he does not seem to have any kind of edge to him or any. You're kind of wondering, like, shouldn't he have a little more right now? It's just something to his game that that you could see developing.
Leave Frankie alone.
Speaking of guys that were highly drafted and were almost unplayable, there's a guy on Orlando in his first year. He shot like 43%, but he looked pretty bad, looked like a bust. In his second year in Orlando, he looked kind of like a bust also. Halfway through this season, he was looking pretty bad, and lately he's been looking awesome. Mario Hezonja. He's been looking really good. Is that kind of story, does that give you hope?
Yeah.
European guy did not you have to say he was a bust up to like a month or two ago.
Yeah.
And then suddenly he's averaging like 20 points a game and playing great, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's sometimes it takes really young players a couple years to develop.
And if you're an Orlando fan, are you excited about the fact that the Magic have declined his option and he'll be a free agent because they're retarded?
Yeah, he's good, but he's not going to be on this team.
Yeah. They talk about using your draft picks just like, whatever. We're just drafting a bunch of guys and just having it not work out for you. Like tons of top picks. Hezonja. Oh, man. And would you like the Knicks to get him?
No.
Why not?
I think it's a fluke.
You think it's a fluke?
Yep.
Here's his numbers, points at least, last like 10 games. You have 21, 24, 23, 8, 10, 20, 15, 14, 17. They suddenly started giving him a bunch of minutes. He suddenly started playing a lot better. You think it's a fluke, though? And he's shooting pretty well. Most of the games, shooting pretty well.
Cool.
Okay. And he's getting a bunch of rebounds and he's putting up other things also, some steals.
Mm-hmm.
He even had 3 blocks one of the games.
Rad.
Orlando drafted a lot of guys that have not worked out. It's been really it's just like if you're an Orlando fan, the Knicks fan, we're our issue for so many years was just not having draft picks, and now we're trying to get high picks and hoping they'll work out. If you're an Orlando fan, what are you even rooting for?
I know it's they've had twice as many draft picks as the Knicks and have half as many draft picks work out.
I mean, they are really horrible at drafting. Or keeping players when they're... I mean, actually, they drafted a fine player in Victor Oladipo, but let him go before he became an all-star. He can't be a Knick because I can't pronounce his name. But he will... he'll probably... If he does continue on this path, he'll be an all-star when he leaves the team. Alfred Payton, they traded him for a bucket of chicken wings. But Alfred Payton might not be very good either. But whatever. Okay, Jay. Give me hope. The show's going to end. Give me hope.
All right. They lose their 18 games, and Hardaway stays in his slump, and the Knicks get a good draft pick.
But what's it say about if this team wins 3 or 4 games the rest of the season,
mm-hmm.
What do you have for next season? You have a team that's so goddamn bad. The whole team's healthy, and they're one of the worst teams in the NBA because they're gonna be trying still. What are you gonna do with this roster? You get this draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna be horrible next year again.
Yep.
Unless Ntilikina takes a step forward, I guess. By the way, Trey Burke. Any chance he could be good enough to start for us?
Yeah. I mean, if Jack's good enough to start for us, Burke certainly could be.
So is there any hope with Trey Burke?
I mean, I'd like to see more. We haven't seen much of him, but I'd like to see. He seems like he was all right in the limited minutes.
Yeah, I mean his shooting percentage is pretty good so far. He's not like he's played that much, but I don't know how his defense has been. I haven't even noticed how bad his defense has been. He's looked serviceable out there. It's hard to tell. The minutes have been limited. Okay, Jay, why don't you just play us out, and I'll be swallowing blood in the way. I'm gonna try to choke myself.
Great, sounds a happy ending.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We will be back next Sunday. Goodbye.
Bye, love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye.